How's it going, everybody? I hope you're doing alright. 1 second, let me just turn off the Wi-Fi. I don't want the government listening to what I've got to say. Let me just turn it off here. Now, yeah, turned off the Wi-Fi. No one will be able to hear what I'm saying now. Only use people. So, lads, a while ago there, I was watching a film called World War Z. I don't know if you've ever seen that film, but it's about... There's some very noisy people outside. Aren't women fierce noisy when they get together? Do you ever notice that? Do you ever notice when women get together outside, they all get very noisy? And they all they try to talk over each other. And you could have 5 women and they're all talking at the same time. Which means that none of them's listening to the other. Do you know what I mean? Kind of like hens clucking at the same time, you know. Anyway, the MGTOW crowd will like that. They like that. Might get a few subscribers from the MGTOW crowd for saying that, for having said that. Anyway, lads, World War Z. Let's get back to World War Z. Is the Wi-Fi still off? Yeah, it's still off. Right. So, I watched it a while ago, and I think it's in Israel, and you've got all the peoples of the world. If there's one thing Israel loves, what they really love, it's multiculturalism. The Jews love that. They can't get enough of the multiculturalism, especially in Israel, where you have, they love to have, a part of their, a big section of their population being Christians, and a big section being Muslim, and then a big section being Jew, and then a big section being some other religion, The Jews love that. So anyway, yeah. What I want to say is World War Z. Why I'm on about Israel? Because, there's a part in the film, where, the people, to get away from the hordes of zombies, they go to Israel. Because Israel has great borders. Do you know what I mean? Israel has the best borders in the world. It's very hard to get into Israel, And it's not very easy to climb over the Wailing Wall either, So yeah, all the people are in there. They're kind of in a big, the city's kind of like a compound. Yeah, that's it, a compound. And you've got thousands and thousands, you could even have millions of these zombies outside the walls. They're kind of massing outside the walls. And you're getting worried because you're thinking, maybe the zombies could start climbing on top of each other, and that way they'd be able to reach the top of the wall, Or maybe the force of all the weight of the zombies could knock down the walls. You're kind of biting your fingernails watching this scene, Because the last place in the world you want to see, swamped by flesh-eating zombies is Israel, The Holy Land, lads, the Holy Land. So, anyway, lads, the zombies, anyway, yeah, they manage to get in, and they more or less, they kind of infect everyone. They eat some people, and then other people to just bite, which turns them into flesh-eating zombies, And I was thinking, imagine imagine if there were real life flesh-eating zombies in the world, right? Now, you're gonna have to use your imagination here, guys, because I know in the real world we don't have flesh-eating zombies, right? But I want you to imagine, right, there's a massive continent, right, we call it Zombieland, right? Zombieland. And Zombieland has existed for, maybe millions of years, And while Europeans, and Chinamen were doing things building chariots, building roads, and 2-story buildings, all that. The zombies were just sitting in the dirt, trying to nibble on a bit of nibble on a grub, or nibble on the leg of a zebra, because maybe they have zebras in Zombieland, or maybe they'd be nibbling each other, do you know what I mean, or they'd be harvesting each other's organs, because they'd be hungry, and like they just never really, never really did anything. Like there was no real. I'm trying to think of the way to put it, like how we'd say it in Ireland. There's no go in them. Yeah, that's it. There's just no go in the zombies in Zombieland. Like they just don't want to do anything. Like they don't want to try and think. Like and sure, like they can't really think because like Zombieland, like through evolution, like their brains are kind of mush because they're zombie brains. They're kind of half decomposed brains, and when you've got like half decomposed brains due to evolution, you're not going to be able to, invent a wheel. You won't be able to invent a wheel, and you won't be able to invent a written language or anything like that. Now, what I want you to do, right? I want you to imagine, right, that like, like for the last 50 years now, this is all imagination, lads. I don't want you getting too carried away here now. Zombies don't really exist, like flesh-eating zombies from Zombieland. Zombieland doesn't exist either, lads. Like, I want you to imagine, right, that, like, like after World War II, like, like in Europe, like, a lot of European men got killed, like, and, like the government in different countries started taking in foreigners, But, like, imagine, like, if your government, like, started taking in zombies as well, started taking in zombies, and your government, started telling you that it was good for the community to have zombies, because zombies, it helped with the diversity, and like Hollywood, like they made lots of movies with zombies, like the zombies were playing the roles of judges, very nice judges, very intelligent judges, and doctors and surgeons, and in the Hollywood movies, like they'd make out that the zombie was being kept down by the human beings. The human beings were keeping down the zombie from reaching his full potential. And if we could only have some sort of action of a kind of a kind of affirmative kind of way about it, some action with a kind of affirmative way about it, to kind of give the zombies a boost up in society, give them more chances to get nice cushy jobs working for the government, like, do you know what I mean, like, and like you tell the humans that they'll have to get rid of their prejudices. Okay, some zombies, a small minority of zombies, this is what the government tells you, a small minority of zombies might, they might for no reason at all just, attack an old one on the street, attack an old woman. They might for, and maybe the zombies, like, one-on-one, they're kind of chickeny, with men, like, with human men, but if they've got 4 or 5 of them, and there's one human being, then the zombies will attack the human being, and they don't care, like, they don't care if the human being is an old man on a walking stick, an 80-year-old man on a walking stick. They don't have morality, because, the brains are half decomposed, so, like, the whole thing of morality and trying to teach them morality doesn't really work, like. And, like, all the prisons, like, the prisons fill up with zombies, so, like, the traitorous governments, they start saying that it's discrimination against the zombies, and we have to start looking the other way when zombies do crimes, because, they've suffered so much because their ancestors, they came from Zombieland, and Zombieland was a horrible place, it was a horrible place, and, it's ancestral psychology playing down through the ancestors, and that's what makes them commit crimes all the time, and go to prison, get out of prison, go back into prison, So I really like to have to change they have to change the human being law to kind of make it represent zombie law, which means that you can kind of do whatever you want and get away with it because you're a zombie. Do you know what I mean? Like, so, like, I just want you to think, like, this is all imagination, lads, but can you imagine, like, can you imagine if, like, a lot of, like, like, lefty people, and rock stars and celebrities, like, can you imagine, like, if they were saying that, there's a famine in Zombieland, there's always a famine in Zombieland, because, they don't do any work, like, they just sit around, like, so of course there's going to be a famine, But yeah, there's constant famines, and then there's constant fundraisers, and they want lots of money and lots of people's taxes to send money so that they can feed the zombies, right? And then like the medical people say, we need to give them proper medical care as well, so like in no time at all, like, from 1980 to the year 2022, like the population of Zombieland triples, triples, like, and no one really knows how many zombies are in Zombieland, but people realize, they're starting to realize that in their towns and cities right across Europe, there's a lot of zombies, and every day there seems to be more and more zombies, like, and border fences like in places like Italy and Spain and all that, like, every day like 20,000 zombies break through the defences, like, and the police won't really do anything, they won't really stop the zombies from invading your country, like, and like your traitorous government, they start like, with the advertising companies, like, they start like constantly showing zombies in commercials. They won't show human beings at all. It's as if they've got their chips in for the future being an all zombie future and no human being future. Do you know what I mean? Like, and yeah. So like, suddenly like, like, you look around your town and your town is in the middle of nowhere, and you suddenly realise that 90% of your town is zombies, and they're all very hungry and they're all very angry, and they want to eat a bit of human flesh, like, do you know what I mean? Like, so, imagine, like, they're attacking women and they're attacking old people and all that, and you decide that you better talk to your politician about this, because it's not on, like, your wife and your mother and your grandmother, like, they have the right to walk down the street if they want, but you go to your politician and like he ignores you and she ignores you, and then you go to the police and you talk to the police and you say, hey, I was attacked there the other day, and everyone I know, every other human being around here has been attacked by the zombies. Are you going to do anything about it? And the police arrest you because you're being, they say that you're being, kind of human beingist. That's what they call you, a human beingist. And you end up being locked up, or you get a big fine, and you can't really pay the fine, and then you get locked up, And the zombies continue, like, the population of zombies in Europe keeps increasing as they reproduce, and also as, a billion more, all the zombies in Zombieland, when they're asked the question, do you want to live in Zombieland or do you want to live in Europe? Like, every single one of them, they all say Europe, but they kind of say it in a stupid voice, because, like, their verbal skills aren't the best, what I mean? Like, and like the zombies kind of have speech impediments, but they can give you one word answers like Europe, or they can say brains. So yeah, like, so like, what do you do then? Like, if your politicians won't listen to you, and then the cops are arresting you for speaking out, like, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to just fold your arms and let the zombies take over? Or are you supposed to protect your women and children from the hordes of zombies? Let me know what you think in the comment section, lads. Anyway, I got this idea after watching World War Z there a while back. And as I say, it's all imagination. Because, like, in fairness, lads, fortunately, we're not in that situation, Fortunately, we don't have zombies in Europe, And fortunately, lads, there's no such place as Zombieland.